Who wins this series, my friend?
Golden State's going to win the series. The question is going to be how much resistance is Houston going to offer them. That's really what it comes down to for me. Bottom line is this. Golden State's a better offensive team. Golden State is a significantly better defensive team.
Yeah.
Houston can turn it up at times defensively, but they're not consistent across the board. And at the critical positions that you need to be good defensively in this series, they don't have that without Patrick Beverley. That's an enormous loss to play a team like this because you got Jason Terry and Pablo Prigioni trying to chase Steph Curry around. James Harden is going to have to be chasing Klay Thompson around. We know James is not necessarily the guy who's going to dig in on that end. So that's the biggest problem is can Houston stop Golden State or make them less efficient at least to give yourself a chance to win? I think Houston can score in this series. I don't know that they're going to be able to stop Golden State for long stretches, and that's what it comes down to. Golden State's better on both ends.
Just for our viewers, Beverley, wrist injury, not expected to play.
Correct.
For the rest of the season. So that's why you really think that's a super negative.
That's an enormous loss. You're talking one of the best on-the-ball defensive guards in the league. And also the kind of guy that's an irritant. He would wear on Curry a little bit over the course of a series with the stuff that he does and maybe get into his head a little bit, make him try to do too much. That's what Patrick Beverley does to guys. Without him, it's really difficult to think their on-the-ball perimeter defense is going to be a problem. You got to chase guys around a lot of screens when you play the Golden State Warriors and commit for the entire shot clock. I don't know that Houston really has that level. They'll score, but they're not going to score enough because they're not going to stop Golden State the level they have to.
So you're going Golden State in?
I'm going to be nice and say 6. If I wanted to really be out there on the edge, I'd say sweep because I think Golden State's a significantly better team. But listen, Houston does have a lot of momentum based on what they just did to the Clippers. That does mean something heading into this series. So I will say Houston, because of that, they're playing good enough basketball right now, believe in themselves. They'll get 2 games, but Golden State wins it in 6.
I picked the Golden State Warriors in 6 as well. I look at the Warriors. They move the basketball very well. They trust one another, and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry aren't their only shooters. Draymond Green can hit some shots. Andre Iguodala won't hit some shots, but he'll score on the break for you. Harrison Barnes can hit some shots. He can score getting to the basket. Sean Livingston can come off the bench. He causes you matchup problems. And again, the absence of Patrick Beverley, as Tim just elocuted, is devastating because he is there specifically to defend. Yep. He ain't an offensive player. He's there to defend. And when you have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, you got a problem because whoever's on James Harden, whoever James Harden is on, they're going to make him run. They're going to make him run. That's how they're going to try to offset what he gives them offensively because when he's on defense, they're going to make him move. They're not going to allow him to stand around. And the thing about it is that to me, Tim, Dwight Howard, more so than in any other series since he has been in Houston, this is the series where you hate to call an $88 million man the X Factor, but he's the X Factor. Because you have Andrew Bogut and David Lee down low. Maurice Spates is out.
Although he might
come back. He might come back, but they're not sure. Yeah. My point to you is that it don't matter. Dwight Howard has to dominate.
100%.
He has to dominate. Agree. Because if he doesn't dominate, then you got Houston's perimeter game against Golden State's perimeter game. And that ain't no matchup. Irregardless of how great Harden is, he's outnumbered because these guys, as good as the Corey Brewers and the Josh Smiths and them can be in moments, you have to consistently play 48 minutes of defense running around to keep up with these guys. This is what they do to you. And to me, Houston is not going to do it. Forget about can't. They won't even try. They're going to get lackadaisical. You've got to make it up on the offensive end of the floor with Dwight Howard dominating the paint area on both ends, defensively and offensively. He's got to do it.
I'm going out on that edge that you talked about. I'm going sweep. Golden State is a 10-point favorite at home tonight. Unusual for a conference final game 1. 10 points. These teams played 4 times, all before January 21st, or the last game was on the 21st. Golden State won by an average of 15 points a game. I know they were a long time ago, and it'd be very hard for, as you well know, for a team to win 8 straight games in 1 year, 1 season against one team. But Dwight Howard played in the 3rd and the 4th game. In those 2 games, he had 0 block shots, which I don't understand. And in the last game, a blowout by Golden State at Golden State. He had 7 points and 11 rebounds. So I don't know that he's going to be as huge a factor as you guys say he needs to be. And in the end, this is the #1 defensive team in pro basketball, and they still, thank you for bringing it up, but they still don't get enough credit for this. They do a number on teams, and I still think that the real Rockets were the team that got blown out 3 times in those first 3 games against the Clippers. Remember, it was like, I'm off the top of my head, 16 points, 25 points, and 33
They can't run with
points.
these boys.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not a fair fight, and I also think Houston might be a little mentally and physically weary from the 7 games, especially tonight.
I think even more than being weary, the biggest concern is when you're locked in a 7-game series, they haven't talked about anything other than the Clippers for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
You have 1 day off. Playing a team like Golden State requires an awful lot of film preparation to understand how good your rotations have to be defensively because of the way they move it and how many guys can shoot it.
Yeah.
You don't have enough time to prepare. Golden State had a couple extra days as it is, and they're already a better team. So if Houston wants to have any chance, obviously, they have to win one of these first 2 games, and I just don't think they've had enough time to get ready for what they're going to see because this is an onslaught when you play the Golden State.
Well, the only thing I would say to that, Tim, is this, and I agree with you, obviously, but I think that you will agree, and I try to tell Skip this, sometimes your potency defensively is because you're so lethal offensively.
No doubt.
Even when it's a tie score, you feel like you're playing catch-up. It's like defending Steph Curry straight up. You know what makes him so lethal? You're petrified of him the second he steps past half court because he has the green light to pull up from anywhere, and he can make those shots with accuracy. And so because of that, you're constantly on your heels, and it affects you. That's why it's so important for Dwight Howard to show up, because you have to put Golden State on its heels defensively. You got to score. They need to be worried about you scoring, so they have to be more precise offensively. Because if you don't put that kind of pressure on them, and they're able to just go out there loosey-goosey because they ain't worried about you, you're dead. You're dead.
Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals up next. We're discussing that. Can you hang out or no?
Absolutely. I'm here.
Okay, good.
Let's go.
We're back in a moment with Legs.
Definitely.
First Take is presented by Chase, celebrating small business. Learn more at chase.com/Small Business Week. And in part by Dave & Buster's. Eat, drink, play, watch sports.
If you were hoping that Tom Brady was going to stop his life over Deflategate, well, think again. According to the Boston Herald, Tom and Giselle were in the Bahamas over the weekend to attend a wedding, and Tom found some time to get away and play golf with one Michael Jordan. It's the second time the duo has teed it up at Baker's Bay in the last couple of months, and like Luke Donald and Keegan Bradley Instagrammed the photo of them with MJ and Brady before the Masters. They are besties now. I don't know. Great to track great. Stephen A., what's going on here?
Winners hanging out with one another. I have no issue with it. Tom Brady, regardless of Deflategate or whatever the case may be, he's a 4-time Super Bowl champion, one of the greatest quarterbacks to have ever played in the NFL, in NFL history. He's a winner, and he's hanging out with a winner and enjoying his off season. And regardless of how disgusted he might be from this whole process, which he has helped to inflict upon himself, by the way, at the very least with uncooperative tendencies, in the end, he still is Tom Brady. He's in appropriate company.
Okay.
So I guess Michael Jordan doesn't believe that Tom Brady is a liar and a cheater, right?
Well, Skip, shoot, I would golf with Tom Brady.
You would?
I mean, what's
you would play golf.
What I'm trying to say to you is, what's the big deal? I would play golf.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
I don't like people saying golf as a verb.
Why?
It just shows you don't play.
Well, Tom Brady, he's right about that.
Right.
But Tom Brady, I mean, look, come on, man. I mean, look, the guy, let him live his life.
Enjoy your life.
Still a good guy.
It's a ring thing.
It's
Still
a ring
good guy.
MJ and Tom in the Bahamas. We won't be in the Bahamas. We'll be here tomorrow.
Well, y'all won't be. I might show up.